Good morning, everybody. You tuned into Crack Call. Now, what are we going to be going on about today? What we're going to be fucking prattling on about? Well, I mean, there's lots to go at, isn't there? But we're going to have to pick one. So I think I'm just going to say, I'm going to ask a question. What the fuck's going on? I mean, about what, you might ask? Come on, Mr. Crack Call. You know, let's be specific here. Okay, so what's going on with all this terrorist vibe? I mean, am I the only one that sees it as a little bit strange that all of a sudden the terrorism is back on the table, as all of the severity and the fear of the current situation? I still daren't say it. I mean, it goes to say something. You can't say a word because a video will get banned or flagged or shadow banned or whatever it is the fuck they do nowadays. But because of all the stuff that's been going on over the past 18 months, all that's starting to subside now, isn't it? People are starting to say, well, yeah, actually, I want to go back to normal here. Not only that, the predominant amount of the population have been, stuck in the arm twice. Again, I've got to say it very surreptitiously here. But they've all had that, and, so that means that people expect normality now, because that's what they've been told. That's what they've been promised. The end game of this whole situation, in my opinion, is now starting to be, on the horizon. It's starting to be finished, isn't it, this thing? They've got everybody to take this medical procedure, and they've got everybody then to accept the passport thing that goes with it, which is fucking disgusting. I mean, just as a little side note here, I know we're talking about the terrorism stuff, but just as a side note here, does anybody know anybody that's taken this thing? And what are their reactions? How do they tell you? Because from what I've noticed, when people get this, they say, oh yes, I've had mine, but because of this. This is the reason why. Now, in my experience, life in general, you don't offer up a explanation for something that you've done without being asked for an explanation, that is, unless you feel uncomfortable about it. Now, I've watched enough of these fucking documentaries about, serial killers and shit being interviewed, and then you've got these speech analysts, and what they say is, oh, this guy here, we asked him a question, he answered, and then he followed it up with a justification. And that means that he feels, or she feels, uncomfortable about that, what we've asked him about, which probably means there's something that they're hiding. So ultimately, in this instance, when they're talking about killers and stuff, if they're hiding something, well, it means, based on the context of the question, they can then start to read between the lines and find out what it is they're trying to be hiding. So, based on that, people are people. People don't change their fucking traits of how they, try and hide the fact they feel uncomfortable about something based on what it is they're talking about. Basically, people are people, and they follow the same fucking patterns, because psychology is such, okay? Now, when people are telling you that they've had this thing, if they feel 100% comfortable with it, then surely they would just be like, well, yeah, I've had it. And that's it. But yet, it's, I've had it. Oh, but only because of this. Only because I want to go travelling. Only because I want to go on holiday. Only because, I want to go to the club. Only because of this, this, and this. So, quite clearly, they're offering you a justification as to why they've had this thing. Because they feel uncomfortable about the opinion surrounding why. And if they feel uncomfortable surrounding the opinion as to why they've had it, without you even offering or asking for a justification, therefore making them feel uncomfortable, if you've not done that, well then why do they feel uncomfortable about it on their own? Well, that's probably because deep down they know that actually they've been blagged into it, you know, which to me says all kinds of wrong, man. Because this is a very serious thing that people are doing, not only to themselves, but to everybody. And, you know, when I say doing this to everybody, everybody will suffer from the fact that, you know, there are weaklings out there that are willing to go along and get blagged into doing something that will ultimately change the face of freedom across the planet of the earth forever. So it's very selfish, as a matter of fact. And it probably people probably somewhere deep down, you know that there is something alluding to this going on. Anyway, so since everybody's got along with this and people are now starting to expect their freedoms, because let's face it, if the people don't get their freedoms now, people are, you know, these people that are quelled enough to go along with it are actually then going to start asking questions. And these people, these oligarchs, don't want that, do they? Because that's the masses. Now, they don't want the masses to start asking questions, because if the masses do, and it's not just the minority, you know, crazy people like me, if it's not just the crazies like me that are asking questions, and it's the majority of the normies, you know, the people that go along with it, if it's them that start asking questions, well then they've had it. Because then it's actually the majority of the population that are fucking questioning their narrative, and then they truly have no leg to stand on, because let's face it, we should all know by now that the people hold the power, and these people like the governments are our servants, therefore they require us to vote for them and follow their fucking illusion of choice to make us, you know, acquiesce to the system. So they know full well that at that point, I mean, they already know they've got no power. We know they've got no power, but we just choose not to use it. But if people start asking questions, well, then they've really, really got to start changing the way they do things. And they've gotten used to the way they do things, haven't they? The way they can just easily implement fucking shit like this on society. They've gotten lazy, and they're happy with that. They want to just keep being allowed to do whatever they want without anybody, you know, causing them to actually fucking cover their tracks and stuff. Because yeah, that takes effort, and they got used to not having to put any effort in. Because let's face it, they're not putting any effort in with any of this stuff, are they? They don't care that people can see that they're a bunch of fucking psychos hell-bent on the destruction of society and the population of planet Earth, and actually probably the planet itself. But anyway, so, you know, bit of a tangent there. We digress again. But what are they going to do then to stop these people questioning the narrative? Well, they have to give them a new one. They've got to distract. Okay? And what's come out at the minute, I saw something the other day that apparently there is hidden documents that were suppressed on purpose about the whole, you know, virus malarkey being actually from a lab, you know, and not naturally, you know, came out of a fucking wet market. So, I mean, look into that, find that one out for yourself. I've seen it, go and have a look at it. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of stuff coming out at the minute, and they don't want people to start questioning things. So, oh no, I know, let's give them terrorism again, because we got them with that last time. You know, that worked before, so yeah, let's continue with the terrorist vibe. So all of a sudden, don't you think that terrorists would have been attacking more while everybody's terrified and locked down? I mean, terrorists, these extremists, they strap bombs to themselves and fucking blow themselves up. So, do you think they care about a fucking virus? They're not afraid of death, are they? I mean, quite clearly, they see death for what it is they believe in as an honour. So don't you think that whilst everybody's fucking terrified and locked down, you know, fucking scared. They're gonna, do you not think they would fucking see that as the prime opportunity to fucking invade a country and fucking start dealing the fucking terrorism shit out? Well, of course. So why didn't they? Oh, well, maybe because, you know, all the terrorist malarkey, perhaps all of that was, I mean, I'm not saying it is, but perhaps it was all orchestrated in the first place. And because the people that were orchestrating it in the first place were preoccupied whilst they were orchestrating another fucking global fucking, I don't know, blag, well, they thought, well, we can't do two things at once here, you know, because again, that's too much like hard work. So they let the terrorism stuff slide because they were focusing on something else, you know. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's the same people that have been doing the shit. In my humble opinion, you know, I'm not saying that that's it, that is what it is, but in my humble opinion, it's possible. All right? Because why else then? After fucking missing the mark with a prime opportunity of being able to, you know, crush a nation, would they then come back, you know, just as people are starting to get their, I don't know, lives back and their fucking sovereignty back, you know, just when things are starting to go back to normal? Oh, I know. We won't attack when it's, you know, the best possible strategic time to do it. We'll wait and wait and wait until it's not, and then we'll come back and start doing it. Now, you could say all of this shit about, well, you know, they've decided to do all of this because, you know, the troops have been taken out of these areas like Afghanistan. But why? Why have the people chosen this time now? You know, why have these governments decided, oh yeah, well, we'll do this now? Why? You'd think, wouldn't you, that actually you'll fucking do it when they actually need to be brought home and looked after. Because this is all about health, right? This is all about caring for the people and caring about your own folks. Wow. So anyway, just a few thoughts and opinions on the whole subject. I just personally think, you know, in a nutshell, you know, that it's a little bit strange that all of a sudden terrorism's back on the table when it seems to have gone past the best strategic time for these people to do certain things. So yeah, what a distraction. It feels as though the media are pushing this as a way to distract from other things. Now, I would say, you know, it's a rule of thumb that if there's a big story in the news, just take a look at what else is going on. Because quite possibly the story that's on, you know, the 4th or 5th or 6th page of the newspaper, or the small stories that are being, you know, just washed over in the media, they're likely the ones, or perhaps the ones that aren't actually being spoken about, but that actually is news. They're the ones that they're trying to distract you away from with these big shows of, you know, focus. Because let's face it, and I'm going to end on this, it's all a magic trick. It's all an illusion, and it's all about misdirection. These people work on the basis that if they can do something with their hand over here, you aren't noticing what they're doing with this hand over here. Okay? So, okay, just remember, it's all a diversionary tactic, and it's all about misdirection where they can just fucking bring your attention over here. Look over here, old man. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. Okay? And this is Crackcore. I'm signing off. I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. Peace.